And there should be one other person on the line. There should be two other teachers on. Yeah. So maybe they got sent to Aragon too. Yeah. This is. You're on. Now 7:01, going to reconvene into open session. Roll call. Trustee Jacobson.
Here.
Trustee Chavez.
Here.
Trustee Griffin.
Present.
Trustee Andrade Zuniga.
Presente.
And I am present. So here is tonight is our Spanish interpreter Enrique Montado's last board meeting.
Oh.
Señor, we are going to miss you. I see you every day, every meeting.
Yeah.
Enrique is an EL teacher at San Mateo High, and he has joined us in the role of board member interpreter beginning in the 2021 school year. We are so appreciative. I am totally appreciative of his support and passion for making certain that we are communicating well for our Spanish-speaking audience. Enrique prepares diligently for every meeting to make sure that all that we discuss and decide here is interpreted with accuracy after working a full day at San Mateo High, no less. Muchas gracias, Señor Montado. We are really, truly grateful, and we're going to miss you. We do have openings for internal candidates to fill Enrique's shoes. For more information can be found on our website or by contacting Communications Manager Laura Chockley. For those who would like to attend the meeting virtually in Spanish, that option is available. Enrique, would you please communicate all of that for us this evening? Thank you.
Tenemos a nuestro intérprete de español para la reunión de esta noche. Para aquellos de ustedes que quieran asistir a la reunión en español, esta opción está disponible. Gracias. Y muchas gracias también por las palabras suyas, Presidente Land. And thank you very much for your words as well. Thank you.
Gracias. Okay. If you wish to view closed captions of this meeting, please view the meeting on the San Mateo Union High School District Board Meeting YouTube channel. The link to the YouTube channel can be found on our website. You may also view the captions in English as we stream live our meeting tonight, and you'll be able to view the captions in a variety of other languages if you choose to watch after this meeting is ended. Viewers, you may request additional accommodations by calling area code 650-558-2201. For our deaf and hard of hearing community, we have a team from Hannah Interpreting Services, and they will be interpreting our meeting this evening. We would like everyone to speak at a clear and reasonable pace for our interpreters. Thank you very much. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Superintendent Booker, would you mind starting us off? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So report out of actions taken in closed session. In closed session, the board, upon motion of Trustee Griffin, seconded by Trustee Jacobson, moved to approve 2 special education settlements with a vote of 5-0. Actually, I think it's 4-0 with 1 abstention. Okay. And then the next one, in closed session, the board voted 5-0 in favor of approving a $550,000 settlement reached with Christopher Nelson in exchange for releasing all claims against the district. Stipulated expulsions in closed session upon motion of trustee Chavez, seconded by trustee Jacobson. Move to approve a stipulated expulsion 2223-4 with a vote of 5-0. In closed session, the board upon motion of trustee Jacobson, then seconded by trustee Griffin, move to approve the stipulated expulsion 2223-6 with a vote of 5-0. In closed session with the board upon motion of trustee Griffin and seconded by trustee Jacobson, move to approve the stipulated expulsion 2223-7 with a vote of 5-0. Public comments. If you're joining us in person and wish to make a comment about an agenda item or during the public comment section at the beginning of the agenda, please fill out one of these requests to address the board forms and submit it to the secretary. This form should be given to the secretary before an agenda item begins. If you are joining us virtually, use the raised hand item on which you can comment. You may be admitted to speak as a panelist during your the public comment period. The board president will call on you. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board president may increase or decrease the time allotted for your public comment, depending upon the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. As of right now, I think I have 2 non-agenda items. Is there anyone on screen?
No, President Lamb, there's not.
Okay, so I will take Rich Fern. Please come on up. You have 3 minutes when you get up here.
It's going to start or not?
Once you start speaking.
Okay.
So
Good evening. I want to thank you for your time again tonight. I was here about a month or so ago, and I understand tonight they're going to get presented to approval at lease agreement for Crestmore High School. So the only thing I wanted to add to that, so it was gracious that Yancey extended the contract to a year instead of 6 months. So that way it saves them 6 months of time. So I have to be here 6 months from now. So I thought that was really good. The only thing I wanted to point out, I wanted everybody at the board to know that I have the sweatshirt right here. We've had the turkey tournament there for 30 years. And so now we know for sure that we can actually have our tournament again this year, hopefully. And if the sale goes through sooner than that, then we'll have to talk to the new landlord about that. But the main thing I wanted to say is I just want to let the board know, because it was brought up a long time ago when we had a different developer, about Crestmore High School and the difference between club and AYSO. So AYSO is totally the most cost-effective place where children can actually enjoy soccer year round. And the next step from that is the Lawn Club, because we don't have any paid coaches. Unlike clubs up and down the Bay Area, they have a lot of paid coaches, and it's actually a job and it presents employment for all those coaches that are out there. But I just want to say for over 40 years, we've been using the fields in San Bruno for our soccer program. And I've been coaching for 20 of those years. And I just think it's a great place for kids to go out and they have a safe place to actually do something away so they don't get themselves in trouble. So I just want to thank you for your time tonight and have a great summer.
Thank you. All right. Our next speaker is Casey Shu.
Hi, I'm Casey Shu. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm new to the district. I have a daughter entering San Mateo High School next year. And I just wanted to address the board. I think sometimes the board doesn't understand how communication is received in the community. And the events that happened on June 3rd at summer school, we never received any communication from the board. I don't know if it's because we're a new family, but I think there's a lot of anxiety in the community about what are the proactive safety measures that are being taken. And so it just brought up for me in conversations with my own daughter who heard about this through, other news outlets, kind of what's happening at the schools that is proactive for safety. And I know there's a great Big Five plan. I was involved in that training in my elementary school district, which I think is wonderful. And I applaud that, but it would be really helpful, I think, as a parent to understand, are there school safety officers at the school? What can we do to sort of be ahead of it to tell our students that they're being cared for at school? Because I think, unfortunately, the world we live in now, the communication's out there, and I don't know whether it's accurate or not, but it would be really helpful. And I know it'd be appreciated by a lot of parents in the community if we could understand sort of the specifics to tell our students. So I appreciate the time, and I hope this is communicated in a productive way. I think it's meant to be positive, and I would appreciate it greatly if there was some communication about that, or we could be directed to really understand where that information is public for students and families. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Just so
you.
you know, since it's a non-agenda item, we can't discuss it.
Yeah, no, I
Just so you know
understand.
that,
Yeah, yeah.
But we can refer to it, the superintendent, and
Okay.
we'll make sure that
Yeah.
someone from the district communicates with you.
Super. Thank you.
And if you don't have and you have your email here, so we can. use that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, seeing no other comments, governing board comments. We have a large agenda item, so I'm going to move board comments to the end again. So we will do this during board operations comments. Okay, so moving to recognition, there's none. Moving to consent agenda. Does anybody want to pull an item? If not,
I'll move adoption.
Okay.
Second.
so there's a motion for the consent agenda, and there by trustee Griffin, seconded by trustee Andrade Zuniga. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Hearing none, the motion carried for consent agenda 5-0. Next on the items. Sorry. Okay, so regular reports. Let's go to report of the superintendent, Superintendent Booker.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to everyone. It's our last school board meeting of the 22-23 school year. It's been a fantastic year. It's been great getting to know the board, getting to know the community. I've had really an unbelievable time. I'm going to say it again. Anytime anyone asks me what it's like being in this district, it's an easy response. It's been a blessing. And I continue to say that. I know we have a lot of work to do, but we have a phenomenal team. And what's fantastic tonight, as a part of our tradition as a governance team, I'm here to introduce some new members of our team for the 23-24 school year. So I'll go one at a time. When I call your name, come on up. I'm going to say a few things about you, and I welcome you to say hi and introduce yourself as well. Deongo Harris joins Cappuccino and Mills High Schools, where he'll be splitting his time as a new assistant principal for both schools. Right to the podium. There you go. Deongo earned his master's in educational leadership from UC Berkeley and his bachelor's degree in education from Touro University. He comes to us from Valley View Middle School. We served as a MTSS teacher leader, and prior to that, he's held positions including education resource specialist, special day class resource teacher in the Mount Diablo Unified School District and the Napa Valley Unified School District. So on behalf of the governing team and the district, just want to say welcome. Thank you for choosing us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You made me sound really important.
Well,
I appreciate that.
Well, you are in our district.
Yeah.
Well, I am
Everyone's
really ecstatic to be here. I brought my wife and daughter with me. My wife Sharon and my daughter Ella. I have two other ones. One's at work at Whole Foods, and the other one's at basketball practice.
Oh.
It is important.
And but I just really appreciate the opportunity to start this new part of my educational career at this school district, because this is going to be my first admin position. And I feel really blessed, just like Randy said, really blessed and fortunate to be able to start at this position. Last week, I had met with Pam, and before I literally even started, I already got another pay raise. So I was just like completely blown away by that. I'm like, man, I didn't even start yet and I'm getting a pay raise. So if you notice kind of a twang I have in my voice, I am born and raised from Arkansas. And I was in the Navy after that, went to Hawaii. That's where I met my wife, Sharon. She's from Napa. That's how I ended up back in California. So
There you go.
that's part of the story. I'm not going to get super long-winded, but I just want to say thank you again for this opportunity. And I'm really looking forward to the school year upcoming. Thank you.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Welcome. Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome. All right, next we've got Lauren Ponte. Did I say that right? Awesome. Joins us at San Mateo High School as its assistant principal. Lauren earned her master's in educational leadership from UC Berkeley and her master's in urban education and literacy instruction with reading certificate from Loyola Marymount University. She earned her bachelor's in psychology with a minor in education from Stanford University. Lauren comes to us from San Francisco Unified, where she's most recently served as the program administrator for the Multilingual Pathways Pathways Department. She's also previously held roles as an assistant principal, a coach, department lead, and a newcomer ELA teacher, and more at Everett Middle School. So on behalf of the district and the governing team, really welcome to our district. Thank you for choosing us. Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to join the San Mateo community and be a Bearcat. I grew up here on the peninsula in Redwood City, so I'm really excited to be able to continue working particularly with multilingual learners to whom I've dedicated my career to serving, and for really excited to be able to support our English learners and our multilingual learners specifically, and all of our students at San Mateo High. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we've got Shannon Lane. So Shannon, welcome, welcome. She joins Aragon as its new assistant principal. Shannon received her master's degree in education administration from National University and her bachelor's in English from CSU Sacramento. Shannon comes to us from the San Leandro Unified School District, where she most recently served as principal of Bancroft Middle School. And she's also served as principal at Morgan Hill Community Adult School and Career Pathway in the Morgan Hill Unified School District. So again, on behalf of the governance team, really welcome. Thank you for
Yes.
choosing us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here this evening. So I have been principal the last 5 years, 6 years, 5 years, but this is my 20th year in education, my 10th year in administration. And we just came through a really challenging time to be a leader of a school,
Yes.
to say the least. And so I am thankful that this district has seen everything that I can bring to a team. And I'm thankful that Ms. Arbizo over at Aragon has been so welcoming. And I'm happy to let her be the leader and for me to come in and be a great collaborator and still be a part of the team. So I appreciate your time this evening, and I'm looking forward to what's coming next.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. All right, next we've got Michaelis Gordon. Is Michaelis there's Michaelis.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I think he's joining us, somewhere far away. He joins Cappuccino as a new assistant principal. Michaelis earned his master's degree in educational leadership from CSU East Bay and his bachelor's degree in history from Degree College, American College of Greece. Michaelis comes to us from the Palo Alto Unified School District, where he mostly served as an assistant principal at Henry M. Gunn High School. He also previously held the roles of Dean of Students, Media Communications Academy Director, and was a social science journalism teacher for 17 years at Newark Memorial High School. So Michaelis, on behalf of the governing board, I really want to welcome you to our district and thank you again for choosing us.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself. I'm excited to join the Cappuccino team and continue to work on creating community and connections with students, parents, and staff at Cappuccino. I'm joining you from Athens, Greece, so I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but
Opa.
Kalimera, and again, the Greeks have this term called philotimo, and I do feel that means, welcoming, and I do feel that San Mateo Union High School District and Cappuccino has made me feel very welcome so far. So I'm glad to join you guys, and I'm looking forward to meeting and working with you all, and I hope to see you at one of the Cappuccino athletic or academic events coming this school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. It's probably pretty late out there.
5 a.m. or yeah.
Oh dear. All right.
Welcome.
We'll let you get back to sleep. Thank you.
Everybody. Wow, this is
All
great.
right.
Well, just the last thing I want to say is,
Sure.
It's so phenomenal that we've got new administrators joining our leadership team. But when it comes to our principals and directors and managers, no turnover there. And we really have a fantastic team. I'm really proud of our team. They work so hard. They're so dedicated to our district, and we're lucky to have them. So big thanks to all of our leadership, our educators, our community, families, students for a wonderful school year. So big thanks.
Looks like a great new addition too.
Yeah.
Really good to see all of you. All right. Welcome to the team. All right. Moving on. It's the report of the District Teachers Association representative, Mr. Childress.
Good evening, President Land, members of the board, and district cabinet. First, I'm pleased to see the tentative agreement approval on the agenda tonight. As I mentioned last time, I truly appreciate the professional discourse that went into this agreement and look forward to continued collaboration. I'd also like to join Mr. Booker and the trustees in welcoming our newest members of the district team. After 30 years, as I've said before, I can tell you you're joining a powerful team in a great place to work. I'll use the rest of my time tonight to deliver a statement from our district PE content lead, Stacy Crowderville, regarding the proposal before you tonight. This statement is informed by physical education teachers from every school in the district. Quote, I hope this message finds you well. My name is Stacy Crowderville, PE Department Chair at Cappuccino High School and District PE Content Lead. I'm writing to express my concerns regarding the proposal to excuse 10th grade student athletes from participating in physical education during their sports season. Specifically, I would like to address the process through which this proposal has been developed and advocate for a postponement of the review of the proposal until the fall, allowing for broader participation from all relevant stakeholders. I would like to emphasize that the proposal as it stands lacks the necessary time and involvement from the very individuals who will be affected by any decision. The absence of thorough communication and collaboration with important stakeholders, including PE teachers and student success coordinators, is deeply troubling. Implementing such a significant change without thoroughly assessing their input will hinder your ability to address the numerous unanswered questions and concerns associated with this proposal. The current proposed changes will require substantial adjustments to curriculum, lesson planning, and grading systems. Without the opportunity for all schools and staff members to adequately prepare for such a drastic alteration to be implemented on day one, we risk creating confusion and frustration among students, parents, and educators. It is imperative that we prioritize a well thought out implementation process to ensure a smooth transition that upholds the quality of education and equitably respects the needs of all students involved. By postponing this presentation until the fall, we can ensure the inclusion of all relevant parties in the decision-making process. This will allow for comprehensive discussions, the sharing of perspectives and ideas, and will provide the opportunity to address the numerous unanswered questions surrounding the proposal as it stands. It is vital that we give the due consideration to the insights and expertise of our PE teachers, our athletic directors, and our student success coordinators, as they each possess valuable knowledge and experiences that can help shape a well-informed and balanced outcome. They are truly the experts in the field. Additionally, the postponement will grant schools the necessary time to assess the potential impact of the proposal on each site's unique circumstances. Each school may face different challenges, and it's crucial that these factors are thoughtfully considered to ensure equitable and effective solutions. Rushing into a decision now without the necessary input and collaboration would undermine our commitment to providing a comprehensive educational experience that meets the needs of our diverse student population. In conclusion, I formally request that the board postpone its discussion on the proposal to excuse 10th grade athletes from PE until at least the coming fall. By prioritizing an inclusive and thoughtful process, we will ensure that the final decision is well-informed, equitable, and aligned with the best interests of our students. Thank you for your attention and consideration of this request on behalf of the District PE Council. Your commitment to a transparent and collaborative approach will undoubtedly contribute to the success and well-being of our students. Sincerely, Stacy Crowderville. And I just want to mention that Stacy intended to be here to deliver this in person, but she's at home with multiple young folks in the house, including a 2-month-old.
Totally get it.
So I just wanted to thank you for your time and really stress that this was informed by, as I said, all PE teachers from all schools in the district. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Just point of information. I think at one of the last meetings when we talked about it, we did say we were going to hold off. Isn't that what we said?
No, you asked me to bring it back for this meeting for,
Okay.
Discussion, vote, whatever the board decides to do at that point. So,
Okay. I just needed a little
That's okay.
point of personal privilege to get that back in the swing of things.
And if I may take a point of personal privilege, I believe that the in the board item, it does say approval and advice to staff or guidance to staff. So I think the recommendation for approval is probably what caused some concern here.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. All right, moving on. We are at the report of the CSEA Chapter 519 representative.
So we have a statement that Superintendent Booker will read on behalf of the president.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So this evening, CSCA President Robin Clemens couldn't make it tonight. So we spoke over Zoom today, and she forwarded me a message to read. And it says, let's see here. Good evening, everyone. I'm very sorry to not be in attendance for the meeting this evening, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to give you our CSCA update. Thank you, Mr. Booker, for presenting my notes. The last board meeting, I was very pleased to hear that the final board meeting was rescheduled for June 27th. With the extra 5 days, we were able to successfully complete the 610 policy process for the following: the tentative agreement for the 22-23 collective bargaining agreement successor. A total of 13 articles were amended and an MOU for bus drivers was created, and the TA was ratified on June 14th. So just a sidebar, that's on the agenda tonight to approve. And basically what she's saying is without those extra days, we wouldn't have had enough time, or CSCA wouldn't have had enough time to have that on tonight's agenda. Secondly, the sunshine letter for the contract reopener for the 2023-2024 was ratified yesterday, June 26th, and there are only these 3 articles remaining for discussion: salary compensation, health and welfare benefits, and career growth. We've already been in discussion with Kirk and Yancey to perhaps find a middle ground on these sunshined items via email, etc., during the next month. Have a great summer, and I will see you in August. Sincerely, Robin.
All right, excellent. Moving on to the report of the San Mateo Adults Teachers Association.
We have Lynette Garcia, and there is a handout on your dais. She's going to discuss the program there. It's a slides, black and white slides copies.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I promise you that I will not present every single slide, or I won't talk about every single slide. That's really more for your edification. And thank you very much to the board members, President Greg Land, Vice President Lahia, Robert Griffin, Cherry Chavez, and Jennifer Jacobson. This is a great opportunity to represent the San Mateo Adult School. And tonight, what we're going to be talking about is the way to reach out to our community. We have a belief at the San Mateo Adult School that the school is a conduit for the community that it resides in. And the school has the ability to support, connect, and uplift the community, as well as the various departments within the city of San Mateo. Hence, the program that we'll be discussing today. I'll be talking about one such program that we offer at the San Mateo and Career Education Campus, and it does fall under the banner of community outreach. I'm curious, and it's more of a rhetorical question, so you do not have to answer it, but I want you to think about it. How many of you here that are currently attending the meeting have attended a city service academy? San Mateo City does offer one. I ask because we at the San Mateo Adult School offer a version of the City Service Academy. It is, of course, set up a little differently as it's modified to accommodate our ESL student population. You're probably thinking, if you've never attended one, what is a city academy? Well, the ESL City Government Academy for us is a partnership between the adult school as well as the city of San Mateo. I had the opportunity of presenting our academy at the CCAE, and I was floored that so many other schools were interested in our program, because there are no other programs out there in the adult school population like ours. Okay. What does it require? It requires a partnership between the adult school as well as the city of San Mateo. It is a unique opportunity that's designed to expand participants' awareness, our students, of our local government, as well as the city services. What does it do? It increases civic engagement. It fosters leadership as well as job and volunteering opportunities. What were our program objectives when we created this program? We wanted our student population to feel prepared and engaged, to further engage with the city. We want them to be empowered and comfortable. We want our sponsoring agencies to expand their network for future civic engagement efforts. The first cohort was in January of 2018, and the most recent was January 2023 to April 2023. You'll note in your handouts, if you have them, that it has expanded from a 12-week program to a 15-week program. And you might ask, what? What does that mean? Well, 15-week program, we have 7 city department session days. What are session days? They're field trips. Yay! Everybody loves a field trip. And yes, it's an ambitious schedule because it's only 15 weeks. We begin and end with City Hall. So you'll notice on your handout that our first session was community development, geographic information systems, which is held at City Hall. Okay. The second one, which was actually one of the most popular, was the fire department. Did you know that their gear, just their uniforms and their gear, not the gear, not the hoses, but just their uniform is 35 pounds? So when they go on a run or when they go on a call, they have to wear that. Library, one of the most favorites for many of our parents, because there are opportunities at the library that are presented that people do not know about. There are free park passes. Public Works. Now, who knew sewage was so interesting? I'm just saying. We did a walking tour to Martin Luther King for Park and Recs, as well as visiting the police department. The most popular was the 2 dogs. And then City Hall. We got to meet the city manager, the city clerk, finance, human resources, city attorney, and then a graduation ceremony on our final wrap-up day. Now, this is a very popular program. We capped our enrollment at 24, not knowing for sure, post-COVID, what it was going to be. And with the support and recommendations from our ESL coordinator, Lisa Sparks, English learner specialist, Marina Kretova, transition navigator, Patty Villard, the class was full within 10 days. We actually went over enrollment just slightly because I always figure people will drop. We went up to 26. We ended with 21. Now, you'll notice in your handout, there were others presenting with me at the CCAE. We had student involvement. Students Fanny Escobar, Elena Babich, and Maria Vasquez presented with me at the spring 2023 CCAE. And so it gives you a highlight with the handout of what they presented, as well as some stats. Now, student feedback. You'll see all of this in your handouts, but I'm going to read just a couple of them. City Hall. I liked what the mayor said, and we're talking about Mayor Emirates Lee, about the importance of speaking. Silence leads to unwanted outcomes and discontent, as does avoiding open conversation. Giving an opinion may be the only way to be together, to create an environment and world all of us want to live in. She was very inspiring. Some other feedback. Through this program, I have learned more than I could have ever imagined. Now I love living in San Mateo more than before and want to repay the city in some way. Ha! Volunteer opportunity. And then the fire department. Again, that was one of the favorites. I learned that people serve or work there make a sacrifice to be prepared to help others. Everything was great, but putting out the fires was the best. Yes, they had an opportunity during their field trip to put out a fire, a controlled fire, but a fire nonetheless. So I invite you all at some point, perhaps you will consider joining us for San Mateo Adult and Career Education Campus City Government Academy field trip or a review session. We would love to have you. And to give a quick update of the campus happenings. Today, we celebrated our all of our volunteers for Volunteer Appreciation Day. You may not know this, but we have over 100 student volunteers for just this past year. Many of them assist with our extensive ESL registration as well as our extensive CASA testing. Tomorrow evening, we will be hosting our high school diploma and GED graduations from 5 to 6:30. Of course, you are all welcome to join us. Thank you again for for your time and the opportunity to represent our school.
Thank you very. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Sorry.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, my mic wasn't working. Okay, excellent. So we are going to move on to special reports and appearances, the adoption of the 2023-24 district budget. I guess I'm turning that over to you, Yancy.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Tonight is the culmination of a huge amount of work over the last 6 months. The business office, led by Valerie Miller and Vanessa Castano, have done a huge amount of work in bringing this budget. In January, the business office brought you the governor's January proposed budget for the state. Don Scatena brought the enrollment projections in February or March. In April, we had our board study session where the board gave direction on staffing levels, enrollment, and other assumptions to be used in the budget. In May, we brought forward the governor's May revise to his January budget, and on June 8th, we held the public hearing with our initial budget. So tonight, we'll ask the board to approve the 2023-2024 budget. And I won't spend as much time as I spent on the 8th, since we have a lot of information since then. Sorry, we had a lot of information on that evening. What I will do is I will go over the changes since the 8th. We've updated the the estimated actuals, and we've done some small changes to the proposed budget based on some new information that we've received. I'll also go into our multi-year projection, which is required as part of the adoption of the budget. Tonight, we'll go over the changes since the tentative budget on the 8th. We'll look in detail at the estimated actual and the adopted budget. We'll look at the multi-year projections and the assumptions in that, and then the actual multi-year projection, and then we'll go on to next steps. In terms of estimated actuals, we've seen a small decrease in revenue of about $132,000. We've also done a deep dive into all of our expenditure items, done some transfers between expenditure category, and looked at the unused budgets and tried to give our best guess on how those would end up. Overall, it's a little bit better than the June 8th by a little less than 0.25% of the budget. In terms of the adopted budget, the biggest increase is we've updated the assessed value projection based on the AV tracker provided by the San Mateo County. So that was an increase of about $522,000, or about 0.25% of our overall budget. In terms of overall, our estimated actuals, we show a small deficit of about $1.1 million in 2022-2023, leaving us with an ending balance of about 18%, including restricted funds, and about 15.4% of unrestricted funds, meeting our 12% board approved or board required reserve. In terms of the adopted budget, we see a very small, a little over 0.25% projected unrestricted excess of expenditures over revenue, and are, again, at the end of the year, overall, we have about a 17% projected budget with restricted funds, and right around that 15.6% on the unrestricted side, meeting our board requirement of 12%. Here are the list of all of our updated budget assumptions, as well as the budget assumptions for the multi-year projections. As the board knows, not only will they be approving the budget for tonight, they'll also be certifying that we can meet our financial obligations for the next 2 fiscal years. In terms of assessed valuation, we've updated the assessed valuation based on the latest from the AV tracker. And in the out years, we continue to use a 3.5% projection. The other items I would like to note are the STRS and PERS rate. Those are our retirements for our classified and our certificated employees. As you can see here, the PERS rate continues to be projected increase. These projections are provided by CalPERS directly. In terms of STRS rate, the STRS rate is now at its the increase that was approved in 2013 when it went from 8.25% and all the way to 19.1%. I would like to note that the STRS board does have the authority to increase that by 1% on their own. Any other increases would have to be approved by the legislature. And CalPERS, the CalPERS board has full authority to set their rates in order to meet the financial obligations. In terms of the multi-year projections, we continue to see a strong ending fund balance, and the majority of the excess of in 2023, 2024 of expenditures over revenues is the spending down of COVID and other relief funding received over the last couple of years. Next steps. Hopefully tonight we will adopt the 23-24 budget and LCAP. And obviously we continue to daily watch the San Mateo Assessed Valuation Tracker. In August, we will see the final roll for us. We'll continue to manage one-time funds, look at our final enrollment in the fall and ensure that staffing is aligned with the final enrollment. We will analyze how long-term management plans align with the district's goals and LCAP, and manage fund balances and financial resources to maintain long-term fiscal solvency and stability. And we will continue to resist using future projected dollars or one-time monies to justify paying for ongoing expenditures. With that, I am happy to open it up to any questions.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to the board. Any questions? No one? Okay, then we're going to move on. Wait,
I was just going to say, because we thank you so
Go ahead.
much, Yancy. We asked a lot of questions last time, so I felt like everything was answered there.
Absolutely.
But thank you for putting this summary together.
okay, so I have a few.
Sounds good.
So, in looking at the staffing analysis, I've seen the the adopted 2022, 23, second interim, we were at 446, 454. I remember we talked about the work study, but then I thought we were going to make changes from the work study to, is that in the change?
Those will not be included in this. We've already rolled position control. Those changes will be provided at first interim along with the
So we're going to
updated.
make adjustments in first interim that
Correct.
suggest all the changes that we talked about Cappuccino or about Peninsula.
Yes,
that-
all of those have moved through in terms of HR. They will, as soon as the budget is adopted, those changes will be made in position control as we move forward. So,
Okay. Second question. I mean, also, I do want to feel like, a compliment, looking at, usually when we have multi-year, usually in that third year, we're looking at a huge drop. I'm not seeing that. In fact, we're pretty substantial with the 18% reserve in the third year. That's remarkable. I just want to say very, very nice job as a CBO.
Thank you.
Because I think usually when we do these, and even in times like this, usually by the third year, you're like, oh my God, we're in a deficit spending and what are we going to do about it? And that's not what I'm seeing here, which is outstanding. So thank you.
well, thank you. I'd like to take all the credit, but a lot of that has to do with COVID and the one-time funding that's been available. And then the board's conservative decision-making has done the rest.
Okay. Well, that's okay too. But
Yeah.
I do think that, the last question I have is about the assessed value. So we have 6.1 this year.
Correct.
Is it a conservative approach or a kind of in the middle of the road approach with the 3.5? I'm just curious as to what you think that estimation's.
So in good times, that would be a conservative approach.
But
In
we're
bad
not.
times, that would be an aggressive approach. And so I think it it acknowledges the fact that we've averaged over 3.5%. But that doesn't mean every year we have hit 3.5%. So we try to take a midline there of putting in almost every year with the CPI factor that's applied. There's a 2% increase. You'll see it on your property tax bill. If you own property in the district or in the county, that's an automatic 2% increase each year, as long as the inflationary factor meets that. And so really you're looking at about a 1.5% increase after that. So that's under our historical average. But like I said, it's above several years. So yeah, we try to take a midline in terms of that. I will note that we continue to monitor the commercial market. Our commercial market is stronger than San Francisco, but you can see the continuing, a lot of commercial real estate has been turned over to its lenders. So we're continuing to watch that, as well as this is the first time since 2009-10, I believe, that we did have write downs in terms of assessed value on some of our residential homes, only going back a couple of years. But that's something to watch as we watch the market moving forward. But I still believe that the 3.5% is a pretty good conservative estimate moving forward. And it's treated us well in making decisions.
Thank you. Last question. So I like your next steps, the managing of one-time funds and the resisting to use projected one-time funds. We're still on track. You've done a great job reporting out last few times, about, hey, this is COVID. These are the these are the one-time, and we're just sticking with that process, right?
Correct.
We're not deviating.
We're moving forward.
Okay.
We hope we get some more, but
all right,
we're not going to plan on that.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have questions? Okay, Bob.
Yeah, just a quick, I'm concerned too. It's, about commercial, and we aren't San Francisco, and hopefully lenders aren't going to inherit all this property. But man, the concern about COVID, the lack of people returning, and the vacancy rates on office buildings is really high. And I know I can't get my staff to come back. Nobody wants to go back. And we've built a lot of buildings, and we built it in the transportation corridor. We're still building them, and we've got even plans like that Claremont, Delaware project that they were, they tore the whole thing down and now they fenced it up. It's kind of the people are committed. This stuff's going to be out there, and probably it will wake up and it'll be empty for a while, which was similar to Bay Metals, because I think Bay Metals, at the time they closed the racetrack, they just let it sit there for a couple of years before they finally did something with it. But I'm concerned about commercial real estate also in terms of value.
Yeah, we're going to continue to monitor that and meet with the assessor. That's one of the things that the County Office of Ed, based on some feedback from myself and other CBOs, have started bringing the assessor in and giving updates on what's going on. So.
Okay. This is an approval of the adoption of the budget, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Your button.
I'll move approval of the budget.
Got it.
I'll second that.
All right. So motion made by Trustee Griffin, seconded by Trustee Chavez to adopt our 2023-24 budget. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carried. Thank you, Yancy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
All right.
Yancy.
Okay, moving on in the agenda, we are now at our next presentation, Student Board Representative Update.
Yay.
So this evening, we've got Joe Huddleston, I believe, coming online over Zoom.
Okay.
We've had a great number of meetings. We've been interviewing student candidates, and the headline, sorry to steal the headline from you, Joe, but we'll have a slate of students joining us in the fall,
Okay.
and we're really excited about that. But with that, I'm going to hand it over to Joe. He's been a great leader through this process.
All right, Joe.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your time. I just want to tell you a few highlights of things that are going on like I said before, we've had 64 applicants for 17 seats on the board. We're going to interview upwards of 25 of students. So we've had a screening, and Trustee Zuniga has been really instrumental in leading this. Greg Land, who we met with before, but we're interviewing a group of 8 students tomorrow, and then another group on July 10th. So we're looking to wrap up the process and get our board selected so we can hit the ground running in August. I also created a sort of a scope and sequence for the types of things that this group should learn about. If they're going to be a part of a student board, what are the important issues, concepts, meeting decorum, all that. So here's where I need your help, Board of Trustees. I shared this document with Shar Aquino, and she can give it to you. And I would love it if you just put in whatever ideas you have, what you think this group should learn. If there are things that I've missed, I'm sure there's a lot because you have a lot of experience with this. But that would give us a good launching point for a scope and sequence for the entire year of what these amazing kids are going to be able to learn and share with you all. And there are some incredible kids. We also students, 2 of their peers evaluating them during the process. So it's very important that they are being evaluated by their peer group as well, so they can share who they feel are the best representative for them. So we'll keep you updated, but we're looking to wrap up this process so that in August, we can have our first meeting as a group and then be ready to go for, say, the September board meeting. So yeah, it's exciting times.
Thank you, Joe. I'm going to take a personal moment. I really apologize for not being able to help out more than I have. I do want to give kudos to Lehia for Trustee Zuniga, Andrade Zuniga, for doing such a great job getting the screening going and stuff. If my career wasn't in transition, I would have a little bit more time on my hands, but unfortunately I don't. So, but I really looked
No
at
worries.
but the spreadsheet's awesome. One of the things I would suggest is, the governance book and the slides that we've been using might be very useful to them. I think Trustee Griffin's disagreeing with me, but on a very high level, it might be useful for them to have some exposure to it. I wouldn't say the degree that we've had, but excerpts might be a good thing.
Well, that would be
Maybe.
good for me. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be
exactly.
excellent.
Anyway, that's all I was going to say, except thank you again.
Great, thank you all.
I think what's important, just what Joe is conveying, and I think what we talked about earlier in the fall. Yes, we want student representation here at the dais to give student feedback, student perspective to the board on the issues that we deal with. But in our discussions, that wasn't enough. We thought it was important that the students walk away with some real skills and real understanding of what governance looks like, because as educators, we want them to be governance participants in whatever shape that could look like, right? At their college, university, at their jobs, in their community, with their places of worship, whatever it might be.
As board members.
We want active participation within community. And so I think what Joe is trying to say in the sense of soliciting your feedback on what they should learn, I think that's going to be really, really important. Yes, I like what this has to say. And at the same time, your experiential feedback on what you think is important that they know, learn, and understand and can wrap their head around when it comes to governance, I think is equally, if not more important.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's very interesting that you say that, because the adult school report presentation was on City Government Academy, which is exactly kind of what the parallel of that for our students is, to give them exposure, to get them to understand it a little bit deeper, what this is about and the politics about it, so that they understand the political participation aspect of it. And so, yes, I agree that our overview of the governance could be very short, but I think one of the things that we, Joe, I think what's going to be important is, what are the issues of the day? From the student's perspective, from the school's perspective, those are things that we need to bring to here. And that's always been something that I think, I know we've, in the last couple of years, and Alihi and I have really wanted this, because sometimes we want to hear student voices and the diverse voices because it's not always one voice. And that's what I think is happening here. And I really want to applaud all of the people who have been involved in what we're doing. So thank you.
Yeah, and I wanted to also say that I'm so impressed with the diversity of the students. I'm really grateful to all of the educators in our district that have put names forward and have had the opportunity to really identify some pretty dynamic students from all over. So that's really, really excellent. And then you too, Joe, thank you so much for taking this and running with it. I mean, you've done so much with it in the past like month, or month or two. And so really thank you so much for taking this on and wanting to be part of it. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm really excited for this.
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah.
Okay, I will try not to be long-winded. So we're going to give 17 students a really good opportunity, which means we're not going to give 8,600 any opportunity. One of the things that occurred to me with this is that we need to broaden our leadership classes on the campuses, which encourages the student government participation and having a lot more people get involved in this. I did nothing till I took leadership San Mateo. Now, it must have been a long time ago because up to that
They
point,
had those things back then.
yeah, I participated in leadership, and it was a lot of similar to the adult school. And as a result of that, next thing I knew, I was in Rotary and I was on boards and I was doing a bunch of stuff. And I think I did nothing in high school. And I think we could open the doors and encourage students by developing a class. And it's not this is a really good effort. But what it pointed out to me, it's really the top of the pyramid. And, that means a lot of people are not going to get the opportunities to even learn. It might change their lives, their trajectory. So I think we should try to look at that. I know we can't boil the ocean, but
well, you know what? You bring up a really good point, though.
Right.
I mean, but I'm going to push on something because I think it's a good start. And I think, I don't see it as the beginning of the pyramid, but maybe the beginning of the train ride. And, you can get more passengers along as we go. And I think that's going to be the case. I think it's not the top and the elite. It's more like, hey, we're opening this up and it's developing. And the more it develops, the more people are going to want to do it. And
that's what I'm trying to say, because the pyramid was the cream, the cream of the crop, or whatever you want to refer to it as. And there's a tremendous amount of potential that we got to unleash in our students.
Well, there's so much diversity in the cream of the crop, right?
Yeah.
And it could be the top of like achievement in academics, but it wasn't, everybody. So now that is exactly what we're trying to do with this. That's why we opened it up to so many more seats, because we do need diversity. There are students that just don't have the time or the ability to be in leadership. And so this gives, and that's not to say that the students that are in clubs aren't leaders, or students that aren't in sports aren't leaders. Like, what does leadership even mean? And so you're right, Trustee Griffin, like it opens the door to allow that definition to expand and for us to be able to bring more to the student body.
Yeah.
But I completely agree with you.
Yeah. I think it's more diversity, and not just that, but different flavors of leadership, because leadership classes have one kind of flavor that you get. And it's a spirit oriented, and it's at the site, and ASB as well. And then so you have those kind, and then this is going to bring an added flavor, which is more kind of about government and local government and our school board aspect and leadership in. I love that you brought up sports. The fact that we're going to have leadership in sports and leadership in clubs. Those are all things that I think are an enriching experience for our students. And we're just adding on, which I'm very proud of. So this is awesome. Terry.
Thank you. I want to just chime in on what Trustee Griffin said about having more opportunities for all the students. And I know I mentioned this a few times, so I'm sorry that I'm repeating myself. Being part of the school site council cappuccino really opened up my eyes to how many students want to be part of student leadership. And so sometimes there are 2 or 3 parents that attend the monthly school site council meetings, and there's about maybe 5 5 staff members, but there are anywhere between 12 and 16 students there because there's student representatives from every grade. And I just hope that all the other school sites have that as well. But the students are there and they're carrying their voice from their peers as well. So I think I'm just excited.
Mhm.
Anytime we involve the student voices, I'm really excited to have the students be part of our dais up here.
Yeah.
I'm
and
excited.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Yeah, even with our bridge program, I mean, we're gonna even think about how we can get some translation, to include someone that is from that program that doesn't, speak English. And so there's opportunities for everybody in this district.
I think Trustee Chavez brings up a really good point. You bring up site councils and DLAC and ELACs, and
Yeah.
getting those students participating in those a little bit more as just kind of either an observer or just get to know it so that they can be active participants a little bit. So I think there's a lot of potential here where we can grow.
And the students on the school,
Yeah.
sorry, the students on the school site council,
Yeah.
they're active. They're part of the voting for the school site council, and they're also they take turns leading the meeting and facilitating the meeting, and it's really great. So I just hope that all school sites have the opportunity as well.
And who knows, maybe their parents will want to get more involved.
Yes, that would be
Yeah.
That would be great. Superintendent Berger.
I'm really hearing what Trustee Griffin, what you're saying and where that has led this conversation. I mean, where we can find increased opportunities for that kind of leadership engagement, whether it's school site council, equity advisory,
Mhm.
Right.
ELAC, DLAC. There's a lot of places where we could craft opportunities. I remember back in the fall, there was some nervousness if we have any student apply for this. And to have over 60 plus
Mhm.
says something, to your point, Trustee Griffin. And so I think we should recommit ourselves looking into next year around where can we increase stipended opportunities for certificated or classified staff to lead
Mhm.
small groups, councils, committees, where we can get increased student voice and they can learn how to be representatives and how to use their voice and funnel that, whether that's to a principal committee or to a board or any of those kinds of things. I don't think that's hard to do. Dr. Kemp.
I just want to remind the board, last session, we did approve stipends for each one of our student equity council coordinators at our schools. And we also have set it up so students that are serving on those committees are hopefully going to get community college credits. So there is a lot of interest. Those teams have been quite large at the schools. And I think with a little bit more incentive for students to continue, because it kind of peters out as the year goes through. So a lot of those teams do work directly with an administrator to kind of think about issues of equity on their campus. And a lot of the recruitment and onboarding is really targeted to ensure that they're looking at representatives across the school. So they look to students that are leaders in sports, students with IEPs who are leaders on campus. So I think we're doing some of it. Certainly we can continue to grow it, because as we found with this project, that we have many, many students who are interested in even bigger leadership opportunities. So I'm hopeful that we'll see those teams become even more active and have opportunities for students to participate.
Thank you.
So just to conclude, Joe, thank you so much for getting this together. All the committee, everybody starting from the very beginning. I think this has been a very important thing. I love that our district is focusing on student agency and student voice, and it is very apparent, and it just keeps growing. And I'm very proud of that fact. So let's keep going with it. So thank you so much, Joe. Thank you so much for presenting.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right. So we are moving on, and we're ahead of schedule for now. Gateway update.
For now.
I'm optimistic.
Yeah. So I'll be brief. The memo really outlines it for the public. Last year, during the last school year, the San Mateo County Office of Education Board of Trustees voted to close Gateway School. Gateway School is an alternative school that we, along with Sequoia and some other districts, can feed students into as an alternative program, especially when there are issues with expulsion and things like that. There are identified concerns about Gateway and its program. And there was a vote taken to close Gateway beginning July 1st, 2024. Superintendent from Sequoia and her instructional leadership team, myself and our instructional leadership team met several times with the county offices superintendent and their instructional leadership team to come together and do some re-envisioning of Gateway. Within those conversations, while we were making progress with ideas, we were struggling because it felt like this closure was just looming. It prohibited real thinking. And so I think giving County Superintendent McGee credit, I think she recognized that readily, and she will be bringing, I think it's, where did I write it here? July 19th, she'll be bringing a resolution to the County Board of Trustees to rescind the closure of Gateway School. You'll see later on in our agenda, we have the Gateway contract for the 23-24 school year that I'm recommending we approve. And with all that said, we'll continue on the Gateway Task Force. It's a joint task force of educational leaders, San Mateo Union, Sequoia, County Office, to continue to re-envision Gateway, but without that looming closure kind of hanging over our head. I think it's given us a lot of freedom to think about what Gateway could become and how it can better serve our students, Sequoia students, and others. So that's a piece of good news. I know it's been heavy on the mind of all of our trustees, even our previous trustees from last year and years past. So I'm glad, I'm really thrilled about this outcome and look forward to real developments with Gateway.
Thank you. Any comments?
I'm just glad that the people involved were involved. Thank you from our district. Yeah.
Yeah, Holly Wade,
Yeah.
Julia Kemke, April Torres, Dawn Skatana, thank you. Oh my gosh, myself. Yeah, great team. I mean, it's a dream team, right?
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm just going to take it one step further. I just want to commend our superintendent for his efforts and his persistence and listening to us, because I really feel that your voice made a difference, because I think Nancy started listening and that made all the difference. So Randall, thank you very much personally. The one thing that I want to add is, you know, Dawn was talking a little bit about, we were just talking about mentorships and part of Gateway and what does that look like if we could keep pursuing that and part of the task force. I think that's another key component. And with the re-envisioning, and it may not be perfect, but then how can we make it better? And what can we do? And if we don't do this agency, why don't we do something else? And what does it look like? So, and I, again, I think you echoed exactly what I was thinking, which was with this rescinding, we could still re-envision it. It could be better than it was. It could be, you know, an adjustment and change, and that's fine. Yeah. And I think that's what it is. So thank you so much for doing that. All right. Moving on, we are now on governance book study. Yeah, Harry, you're on.
Great. I'm gonna pass the floor to Trustee Griffin, since he loves this book and he's going to speak to it.
I'm going to be the worst student today because I don't even know what the chapter was about. I'm sorry. I just had such a busy time.
Shortest one out of all.
I'm confessing. I didn't do my homework.
Did you memorize the slide deck?
No, but I will say this. My dog ate
I haven't
my homework.
I haven't received the slide deck.
I'm gonna let you off the hook.
Superintendent Booker, where's the slide deck?
No slide deck tonight. The chapter is super short and it's really just a recap of the whole book.
All right.
So if you read chapters 1 through 8,
which
you're
we did
good.
do.
Then
You're
you're
good.
good. Trustee Land.
I'm going to read some excerpts, I think. So no slide deck. I'm going to go quickly, but I want to read some excerpts that I think are really important and are, in my opinion, the impetus as to why we should have a moral imperative in the title of the chapter, Rising to the Occasion. And it reads, the nature of current schooling is past its due date. I mean, just think of that sentence right there. The nature of current schooling, how we've educated our students, has passed its due date, meaning what we've been doing needs to be done. We need to redo some things. Various studies show that as much as 2/3 of students and teachers find schooling boring or otherwise alienating. I'm going to pause there. Why I became an educator was because my high school experience was incredible. I had the best teachers. I can tell you by name all of my teachers, whether it's from Lincoln Elementary to Burlingame Intermediate School, my 1 year at Burlingame High School, my 3 years at Cardinal Newman High School. I had an incredible experience in education. It's why I became an educator. It wasn't boring for me, but when it says here 2/3 of students and teachers say it's boring, we have a problem. It says boring or otherwise alienating. Inequity is dramatically on the rise with non-school factors of poverty, racism, health, welfare, shelter, and safety contributing to the miasma of problems facing schools. The future of the economy, unpredictability and scarcity of jobs, and the unknown role of technology add other uncertainties. Local and global conflict threatens basic conditions of social cohesion and stress. I'm going to move on where it says, in times of turmoil, I just read times of turmoil, it is crucial that local governments become stronger. That means you, us, we become stronger amongst that turmoil. We do believe that they need to become better partners upward in the system, but we also hold to be true that they need to have a degree of independence when it comes to interpreting state policy directions. We've been doing that as a governance team this year. We've had some, as I've called it, crunchy conversations about all kinds of things, and that's what we should be doing. That's what we're charged to do. That's how we rise to the occasion. Our fundamental premise remains the same. Effective school boards and superintendents are system players. This means that local boards need to take into account state policies, but must also interpret them in light of local priorities, meaning listen to your community. Never has this role been so critical as it is now and will be for this century. Local and state politics represent a dynamic and not necessarily a simple hierarchical relationship. This makes trustee-superintendent joint mindsets all the more crucial. I'm not going to read the list of tips for trustees and tips for superintendents. We've been going over them, but I will read this last part. School boards are faced with ever more complex decisions with increasingly severe consequences if they get them wrong. Take technology, curriculum programs, or assessment systems, for example. Without a proper framework, the board is faced with a series of ad hoc decisions where millions and millions of dollars are at stake, not to mention the squandered opportunity to implement the moral imperative of raising the bar and closing the gap for all their students. This is something that you talked to me about in my interview, let alone in public board meetings over this past year. So what I'm really trying to say is I brought this book forward because I thought it would help us be more cohesive as a team. I think it's done that, but it also serves or stands to reinforce, I think, the moral imperatives that you've all had from the get-go. And lastly, it serves to communicate those out to our broader community. What are we about? What is important? And what are we trying to achieve for our students, our educators, and our families? So I really appreciate the board allowing this book talk to flow through the second semester. We'll talk about what it could look like next year. But I just want to say thanks. And I learned a lot about all of you through this conversation. So thank you.
It's an open discussion.
I just wanted to say thank you for bringing this book. I love to read, and this was, I know it's part of our work, but it almost felt like just even personal development reading. It made me really remember why I was interested in the board and where my own board direction is going, and then how where it fits with our group too, and thinking about everybody's positions and why they are the way they are, what it is that's important to them. Everybody has a place, and so this was excellent. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
I found this very reassuring. I think we're on the right path. It goes to exactly what you're saying. And just having the discussion to be able to discuss it made it even more powerful and more connected with a team, I would say our governance team, that we didn't know each other. I mean, we really are getting to know each other. This is a whole new board in some ways. And so I really felt it was really good to hear it and see it and talk about it and be on the same page on it. So I thought that was outstanding. That last stuff, that talked about, you know, the framework and the decisions. I mean, if you really think about it, with COVID was really a test of strength for a lot of boards and a lot of districts. And some did not do well. They did not fare well, and lots of issues, and they're still trying to piece it all together. I feel like we did a great job during COVID. I think maybe not perfect, but we did a lot. We got better. We regrouped. You know, it was a lot of ad hoc, but that was because it was an emergency. It was a crisis. But looking back at it, I think this district really put into place systems because what they had to do, and we did it. And maybe some people wanted to come back faster than we did, but man, we did it right. And it shows. And you know, we're almost back to normal. And that's a good sign. That means we have some strength. And I think this group is really getting that. And I mean that to senior staff, to our schools, to our teachers. I think we've done a really good job. I don't think that's true across the country. And I think there's some real messes that are still out there and that have to be fixed. So this just proves to me that we're on the right track. We have to be reminded every once in a while, which is why we have the book. And I think that was really a good point. And so I'm just really grateful for this, and I'm glad we did it. Yeah. Go ahead.
I feel like the microphone's closer to me today. I don't know why. Just whatever. No, I think the book overall was very engaging. And like you said, Trustee Land, it helped us all engage in our own conversations every time we discussed it. And I think that even though we didn't read the tips, well, we read them on our own, right? There's 10 tips for trustees and then there's 10 tips for the superintendent. But just taking a couple of those out of the book, it's kind of like the underlying theme of the book is a couple of these tips. It's like the underlying theme that we've been talking about. Work hard to develop a shared moral imperative that will define the work of your board and superintendent. This is the core upon which the educational program will be developed. And then there's another one I wanted to read, and now I lost it. See, I didn't highlight it. Like I have my notes in here, my little. Just give me 1 second. Sorry. Oh, it's the one about the team, of course. Never forget that the governance is a team sport. The board is a team. And that we're, working together. If the board succeeds, you succeed. The board fails, you fail. We're a team, and we're all a governance team. Everybody's sitting at this table here. And when we discuss our not our closed session, what is it? When we discuss our board retreats that we've had, and we develop our board goals and what we want to focus on, it just feels like we're working together as a team. Not just that it feels like it, but we are. And I think this book reinforces it. And so there was one other thing that really stood out here, and I think it's about the book. The book was intended to inspire and show how trustees and superintendents together can strengthen local schools as they help make society at large become globally prosperous. And I think that this whole chapter, as you said so eloquently, Superintendent Booker, is that this chapter kind of sums up everything that's led up to chapter 9. But I just wanted to say that it was great discussing this chapters at a time, because we may have just all read the book on our own, but having a forum to where we can discuss it, and it just makes it so much more, I can't think of the word, but more resonates more.
Yeah.
What were we gonna say, Craig?
Meaningful,
and resonates more. So thank you for that idea. And I think we'll let Bob pick up the next book, because now that we're on a roll here with these.
All right, Bob.
I've already got 5 or 6 reading books. This got in the way. It's got in the way of history and some other things. So this was a good exercise, a good book, and I will liken this to trying to come up with a good analogy. Maybe somebody with a brand new athletic uniform. Somebody who took a class and they're all ready to go. But I want to see us get dirty and really start putting this to use. And I want to see when somebody shows that little pearl of wisdom that's in that book that saves us from the abyss, or where we agree to disagree and all walked down the road hand in hand. So it was good. Thank you very much.
I see the image of.
Let's do the
a
yellow
cliff.
brick road. Like,
I see the yellow brick road, but then I see a cliff.
A
and the
cliff,
crunchy-
yeah.
Crunchy conversation right off the cliff. It's like,
Oh my
and who's gonna
gosh.
remember to bring the rope that we're talking about to save us?
I thought you brought the rope.
I thought you brought the rope.
But we were able to have
Anyway.
these crunchy conversations because we had the underlying theme of this book, right?
And I think that's the image that I get when Bob talks is like, hey, this is great to talk in theory, but where's the practice? And you know, it is a matter of reinforcing that we do believe this. So then how, when it gets to difficult conversations, what does it look like? You know, when we see that cliff, who's going to bring the rope and help us out and kind of come to consensus and kind of compromise? And we don't have to always agree. It's just, how do we figure it out?
Right.
Anyway. Okay.
I'll just say a couple words.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm also very grateful for the book study. It was a great orientation for me as someone who's never been on a school board before. Going back to the shared moral imperative, I think that is so critical. And as that keeps coming up as a theme, I'm wondering if we have ever, I don't know that over the course of this book study that we've actually nailed down our shared moral imperative. And maybe that's something we can do at our next retreat, is to nail that down, or at some point. But I do think it's critical that we're on the same page. And when we have those discussions about setting goals and things, this is why sometimes I raise the questions that I raise about, well, what do you mean by equity? Because are we on the same page about what that means? And so grateful for those conversations. And then just how they were talking about the school system in general, and how what you were saying, that people think it's boring, or that it's not maybe fulfilling what schools need to be doing in 2020s in our century. I was just listening to a podcast the other day talking about our system of education of, sitting in rows and classrooms and bells. And it was actually designed to develop factory workers, which is
Industrialization. Yeah.
not what our society is about right now. And so how can we reimagine what our schools and our education looks like? And I'm glad that we have a superintendent who is open to creativity and disruption, and as we've talked about, and I'm looking forward to having more of those discussions. Yeah, that's all.
Outstanding. Yeah, totally agree. All right. Thank you. Lively discussion, and we're still on time for now. Moving on to construction. Thank you again for that presentation in the book. So I'm going to turn this over to Yancy. We have we have a few things.
I believe Michael Estrada from Greystone West will be coming in, but I can start on the first item. This doesn't require Greystone coming in. The first item is a public hearing and adoption of findings awarding the solar voltaic canopy design, build energy services contracts for Aragon, Burlingame, Cappuccino, Hillsdale Mills, San Mateo campuses, and the San Mateo Union High School District Office to NG. At the June 8th meeting, the board approved the form of the contract and the amounts for this contract. This contract is being issued under Government Code 4217, which is for sustainability projects. One of the requirements of that is that you perform a public hearing that notes that this project will have savings to the district in order for it to be eligible for Government Code 4217. District staff and consultants, including Sage NV5 and Greystone West, note that we do meet the requirements of 4217, which is the industry standard for these projects. Happy to answer. Oh,
do we have to do a public hearing today, or is this for the future?
It's today.
So we are closing. So then we want to open a public hearing meeting, have that discussion, and then close it.
Perfect.
That's what we'll do. So I'm closing the board meeting, opening a public hearing meeting, and now we can have comments, questions, and discussion.
So I'm here to answer any questions, but if not, we can move forward.
Okay. Any questions? We are so I guess, like you said, are we going to save money with this?
We are going to save money. For two reasons. Number one, overall, the project has a net positive present value, which is very positive, meaning that the present value of the savings exceed the costs of the project. In a second way, as these funds are being, the project is being financed by Measure L. Those are construction funds. And so as you look at the project, all of these savings for the project will go to the general fund, whereas Measure L will pay for those. So even if the project was being paid for by general fund, it would be a
net gain.
It'd be a net gain, but it's a significantly larger net gain given that Measure L is funding the project.
Which just helps our general revenues. Which is
Correct.
great.
Helps us provide
More resources
more resources
for our students
for
and our
educating
schools.
students.
Yep. Excellent. Any other questions? Okay. Any other comments? I'm going to open it to any public.
There are none.
Okay. So I'm going to close the public hearing, re-engage in our board meeting. And now, do we need to pass a resolution?
Correct.
So entertaining a motion to resolution 2023-33.
I'll move.
Okay. So trustee Griffin makes a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Andrade Zuniga. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried 5-0. Okay. Moving on.
The next two items relate to the Aragon High School baseball and flex field project that's going on. The site is very excited about this. We have run into a few issues on this, which I will allow Mr. Estrada from Greystone West to identify. As the board knows, this is the project where we had to, due to cost overruns, we moved to, and other issues, we moved to another provider. And so this is the approval of the GMP, the guaranteed maximum price under the leaseback. And then the next item will be around the budget augmentation for this project. So with that, I turn it over to Mr. Estrada to note some of the unique items of this project.
Okay, Mr. Estrada.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins, President Land, and members of the board. Thank you for having me. Some project-specific issues we had were due to grade cuts or some additional grades needing to be cut, primarily in the left field. This also exposed some utilities that needed to be relocated, a gas line and a fire water line. So obviously very costly in nature. There were also some, due to those grade changes, we had some concrete retaining walls added, almost doubled from the initial project estimate that was approved. And then more along the general lines are the sports fields in general, just becoming more susceptible to escalation. The sports lighting specifically almost doubled since the initial SD approval. And then chain link fencing has also been quite a problem for us. That and added 2,000 cubic yards of export are causing what would be required to have a $2 million increase to the project budget.
So just a couple other notes. The project is still, I believe, about $600,000 lower than the initial cost we received by the initial Goodland when they were approved for the project. So we are seeing savings over that number, which we believed was high, but we're still seeing cost in excess of the original approved budget on this.
Because of what he's talking about.
Because of what he's talking about. I will note that overall, from the initial approved budgets from this board, we are still $7 million to the positive without using $1 of contingency budget. So very disappointed, that the factors on this as we've continued to work on it are high. But overall, in terms of the program as a whole, we've still had more positives than negatives. So we
Okay.
are happy to that, but we are disappointed on this project.
Okay. So I'm entertaining either questions or a motion for the leaseback contract to BHM Construction.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Did we, like when you make your construction budget, did we miss the site utilities and the elevation issues when we did the original budget?
So when we do the original budget, we have the architects do go out there, but we don't have soil sampling. We don't necessarily have all the grades. We have the basic size, we have the basic location. We have, it'll take X square feet of turf. It'll take this. When we do the topographic analysis, when we do those soil samples, and then also when we go into DSA, and they have certain requirements around, usually on this project, ADA access is going to be, we don't have that information when we make the original budget. We do include contingencies. We do include a 10% design contingency in this case. And usually that is sufficient. On almost all the other projects for Measure L, that has been sufficient to cover the additional unknowns. But in this case, as Mr. Estrada noted, when we looked at the topographic, basically we had to go in, there were the left field, was it, Mr. Estrada, that was a significant difference in terms of
10 feet.
It was a very large difference. And so therefore we either have to bring in soil, we have to take out soil, we have to cut and fill soil. What that did was that opened up those utility changes that needed to be made. And it's kind of a compounding issue once we get into that. So
hopefully we do a better job, although you already said, well, we haven't used our contingency. So that's
not bad.
We're very happy overall with how the project goes. A couple of notes. We're mostly through our lighting project, but lighting price increases are a little bit concerning, but probably more as we look into future potential projects and future lighting projects. The one thing that Michael did note, for some reason, electrical and fencing costs right now are just out of control. We get multiple bids. They are all well above our estimates. So as we're moving forward, we're looking at our budgets and we're ensuring that, we're putting in a little bit of additional budget in those areas as we move forward.
Okay, well, there was the great structural steel issue. There was the great rebar issue. The photovoltaic cell issue, the solar cell issue. There's construction in general. So I'll move adoption.
All right. Motion made by trustee Griffin.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Andrade Zuniga. So for the award for the leaseback contract to BHM, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Excellent. Moving on to the augmentation of the budget.
So this has to do with all the factors we just noted. In order to fund that, we come to you whenever we're going to be above the original estimated cost. We come back to the board out of transparency and out of necessity to approve the augmentation to the budget. So that's all the factors that we noted before.
What's the augmentation? I didn't look.
I'll have to pull. It's approximately 2 million.
No, it's 2 million.
Yeah,
2 million, period,
2 million.
not approximately 2 million.
2 million.
Mr. Hawkins.
It is exactly $2
Exactly
million.
$2 million. Okay, so who wants to approve an augmentation of $2 million?
I'll move adoption.
Okay, motion made by trustee Griffin,
I'll second that.
seconded by trustee Chavez. $2 million augmentation. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Got yourself that $2 million.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on, we are now into human resources consent agenda. Dr. Black.
Yes, we have 7 items on HR consent. Are there any questions? Otherwise, we recommend approval.
Okay.
I'll move approval if no questions.
All right.
Second.
Okay, motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga, seconded by trustee Griffin. No questions. So we're going to go call a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Consent agenda passes 5-0. Okay, Division of Human Resources. We have several things to talk about.
Right. The first one is personal actions addendum. There are two recommendations we'd like to share tonight. One is retirement of Becky Foster, administrative assistant at Aragon High School. She submitted her retirement effective September 5th after 34 years and 11 months in the district.
Wow.
Also, Larry Eddings, a school plan operations employee lead at Burlingame High School, submitted his resignation effective June 30th after 10 years and 10 months in the district.
Okay.
Other than that, we recommend
Approval. Okay, addendum.
I
Approve.
move to approve.
Okay, trustee Jacobson made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Andrade Zuniga. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And hearing none, the motion carried 5-0 for the addendum. Okay, public hearing for AB 1200.
This is a public hearing for the county's approval of AB 1200 form that supports the district's agreements with the unions for increases in compensation.
Okay, so do I have to do a public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm closing the board meeting, opening a public session, public hearing. Anyone want to speak on AB 1200? Is there anybody in the audience or in the?
There are none.
There are none. Okay. Hearing none, we're going to close the public hearing, reopen our school board meeting. And now what do we need to do?
This would be the next item. We
right.
recommend approval of the tentative agreement between the district and the District Teachers Association. Just a few highlights of the agreement include smaller ELD staffing ratios, that's English language development learners, lowering the school counselor ratio, staffing ratios, providing for 6/5 assignment at Bridge School, at Middle College, and for adaptive PE. There was a 4% salary increase. There was also, we also initiated an incentive for teachers to get the National Board Certified Teacher through a stipend, through an annual stipend. We raised the district medical insurance contributions to 2023 levels and agreed to finance 2024 premiums with one-time funds. We clarified leave language for adoptions, religious holidays, graduations, court appearances, and catastrophic leave. And we increased the department chair stipends for Peninsula High School and Middle College.
Very
Move to
nice.
approve.
Motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga for the tentative agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Jacobson. All those in favor of the tentative agreement with the District Teachers Association, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried unanimously 5-0. Next one, tentative agreement.
This is another tentative agreement between the district and AFSME. This is the classified supervisors or managers, and it mirrors the agreement with the teachers in terms of compensation, but it also adds 2 positions to the unit and a reclassification process.
Okay, thank you. A motion to approve this tentative agreement.
Move to approve the
Okay,
tentative
motion
agreement.
motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Jacobson. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Okay, approval of AFSME positions.
So
Those are the two.
this is approval of 2 positions in the AFSME unit for a capital facilities project manager and a student nutrition operations manager. Both of these will be in AFSME, but funded through their separate funds, Fund 21 for capital facilities and Fund 13 for student nutrition.
Is there a motion to entertain those?
So move.
Okay, moved by trustee Griffin. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Andrade Zuniga for both positions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried for both positions 5-0. Approval of following salary increases.
These are the salary schedules that would, so all of these salary schedules have incorporated the negotiated 4% salary increase, and we recommend approval.
Okay,
I'll move to approve.
motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No one opposed? Any opposed? None. Motion carried 5-0. Okay, CSCA.
Yes, the next 3 items are related to the contract reopeners between the district and the CSCA. CSCA President Robin Clemens mentioned that in her remarks. This one is the CSCA's contract reopeners that includes salary, benefits, and career growth. It's just for information only.
Okay,
The next one would be a public hearing for the district's contract openers with CSCA for 2023-24.
okay, so I'm closing the board meeting, opening up for public hearing and public comment regarding contract openers with the CSCA Chapter 1519 in the district for the 2023-24 year. Any comments from the audience?
There are none.
There are none. Any comments from the board? None. Closing the public hearing and reopening our school board meeting. Okay.
Okay, next is the approval of the district's contract reopeners that you just had the public hearing for. It's limited again to career growth, salary, and benefits.
And do we need to approve that?
Please.
Okay.
We
I'll
recommend
move.
this.
Okay, motion for trustee Andrade Zuniga to approve that, the openers and et cetera.
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing any opposition, hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Update on CSEA salary schedule.
Yes, these are the positions that were approved by the board at the last meeting. There were 5 reclassified positions and 2 new positions that were approved on June 8th. And so this salary schedule includes those in it.
Okay. Do we have to approve this?
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll move to approve it.
Okay, motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga for the salary schedule. Is there a
I'll second
second? Seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Okay, side letter.
This side letter provides for the equivalent salary schedule placement for a teacher who earned their credential through a BA program instead of earning it post-baccalaureate, that how most teachers earn it.
Postgraduate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No.
I'll move to approve it.
Thank you. Trustee Andrade Zuniga made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Chavez made a second for the side letter. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Teachers Association approval dual enrollment.
Dual enrollment. So these are stipends for teachers that are instructors who are going to teach classes that fall into the dual enrollment program. We anticipate about 26 staff members that will teach in the dual enrollment program. This small stipend, it's $1,000, helps them with all the time that it takes to intermingle between the two institutions, the San Mateo Community College District and our district.
Thank you. All those in favor? Oh, there needs to be a motion. I'm getting tired already. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve this.
Okay, trustee Andrade, motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, trustee, seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Approval of the memorandum of understanding between San Mateo Union High School District and Latinos for Education, the Latinx Symposium.
Yeah, this is a MOU that provides a partnership with Latinos in Education to sponsor a Latinx symposium at Santa Clara University on September 23rd. The intended audience are teachers and mental health providers. The Latinos for Education is a nonprofit organization. San Mateo Union High School District employees are invited to attend, and the agenda is listed on the board memo, but it includes a variety of speakers and activities around mental health, family engagement, and serving Latinx youth.
I move to approve.
I think it's outstanding. I'll second it. So motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga, seconded by President Land. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Okay, approval of non-represented administrators and classified management contracts. Oh my God, this is the one. Do you want to do some? I'll tell you what, you do the first page and I'll do the second and third page. Okay,
You just tell me when to stop.
you do
I'll
the
just
first
keep going.
page. Go.
Ready? Yeah, okay. The following are the compensation terms for the district's non-represented administrator and classified manager positions. Each administrator manager will receive health and welfare benefits up to $28,964.15, transportation and cell phone reimbursements of $275 per month, various subscriptions and memberships, and reimbursements for approved district expenses. I'm remembering to slow down a little bit because of our translation.
Yeah.
Not good.
Assistant principals, Jesse Boys, assistant principal, Hillsdale High School, salary of $206,715, 214 work days. Eric Ding, assistant principal, Mills High School, salary $178,250, 214 work days. Jenny Gibson, assistant principal, Burlingame High School, salary $187,273 with 214 work days. Michaelis Gordon, assistant principal, Cappuccino High School, salary $182,706 with 214 work days. Diango Harris, assistant principal, Mills and Cappuccino High School, salary $173,903, 214 work days. Andrew Hartig, Assistant Principal, Aragon High School, salary 178,250, 214 workdays. Michael Holtz, Assistant Principal, San Mateo High School, salary 206,715 with 214 workdays. Gary Hong, Assistant Principal, San Mateo High School, salary 182,706 with 214 workdays. Shannon Lane, Assistant Principal, Aragon High School, salary 182,706 with 214 workdays. Amy Malcolm, Assistant Principal, Burlingame High School, salary 187,273 with 214 workdays. Ashley Milton, Assistant Principal, Hillsdale High School, salary 206,715 with 214 workdays. David Moore, Assistant Principal, Aragon High School, salary 182,706 with 214 workdays. Lauren Ponte, Assistant Principal, San Mateo High School, salary 178,249 with 214 workdays. Sarah Prensky Pomerantz, Assistant Principal, Hillsdale High School, salary 195,170, 214 workdays. Mauricio Rodriguez, Assistant Principal, Cappuccino High School, salary 178,250 with 214 workdays. Jonathan White, Assistant Principal, Mills High School, salary 178,250 with 214 workdays. Alfred Wolfgram, Assistant Principal, Peninsula High School, salary 192,580 with 214 workdays.
I'll take over. Assistant Principal Julia Kemke, Assistant Superintendent Curriculum and Instruction, salary $249,060, 221 workdays. Assistant Superintendent Yancey Hawkins, Associate Superintendent Yancey Hawkins, Associate Superintendent Chief Business Officer, salary $274,862, 221 workdays. Kirk Black, Deputy Superintendent Human Resources and Student Services, salary $292,900, 221 workdays. Directors, Simon Bettis, Director of Technology, salary $217,433,000. 220.
Do you want me to help you?
No, I just got to get 221 workdays. All right. Linda Carlton, Director of Maintenance, Operations, and Facilities Use, salary $217,433, 221 workdays. Don Scatena, Director of Student Services, Middle College Principal, salary $238,311, 221 workdays. Brian Simmons, Director of Curriculum and Assessment, salary $238,311, 221 workdays. Angela Taylor, Director of Adult and Career Education, salary $215,571, work 221 workdays. Holly Wade, Director of Special Education, salary $238,311, 221 workdays. Lauren Berlin, Assistant Director of Special Education, salary $204,385, 221 workdays. Kira Mann, Assistant Director of Adult and Career Education, salary $186,766, 221 workdays. Executive Director, Karen Holder Jackson, Executive Director of Excel, salary $172,311, 221 workdays. James Hyde Jr., General Manager of Operations, salary $176,619, 221 workdays. Charles Royce, General Manager of Facilities, salary $172,312, 221 workdays. Managers, Vanessa Castano, Manager of Accounting, salary $209,710, 221 workdays. Laura Chalkley, Manager of Public Relations, Communications, and Publications, salary $191,403, 214 workdays. Sabaraya, I don't know if I got that right. Hawkins, Manager of Teacher Induction and Professional Learning, salary $194,108, 214 workdays. April Torres, Manager of Mental Health Programs, salary $204,954, 214 workdays. Jennifer Villafort, Behavior Program Manager, salary $140,582, 204 workdays. Joanne Michaels, Associate Manager of Mental Health Programs, salary $186,734, 214 workdays. Principals, Valerie Arbizu, Principal of Aragon High School, salary $238,311, 221 workdays. Ronald Campagna, Principal of Peninsula High School, salary $238,311, 221 workdays. Pamela Dzinski, Principal Mills High School, salary $238,311, 221 workdays. Jennifer Fong, Principal Burlingame High School, salary $238,311, 221 workdays. Jennifer Gilbert, Principal of Hillsdale High School, salary $238,311, 221 workdays. Jose Gomez, Principal of Cappuccino High School, salary $229,754, 221 workdays. Yvonne Shu, Principal San Mateo High School, salary $238,311, 221 workdays. Samia Shulman, Principal of Bridge Program and Manager of Academic Support Programs, salary $212,483, 218 workdays. That is it. Getting dizzy from that. All right. So moving on to Division of Student
You
Services.
need a motion.
Oh, we need a motion to accept that.
Motion.
Motion made by Trustee Griffin,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Andrade Zuniga. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. With Trustee Jacobson out, the vote is 4-0. Okay.
Thank you to the ASL interpreter too.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Thank you.
Moving on to T, Division of Student Services, Yancy. Gateway contract. Whoever wants to do it. How much?
So this is the Gateway contract for the 2023-24 school year. It guarantees us spots in Gateway. We pay. It's almost identical to the contract for 22-23, and actually the estimate is below the estimate of what it was for 22-23.
Nice
so
to hear.
Happy to answer any questions or.
I'll make a motion then.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the Gateway contract. Is there a second? Second by Trustee Griffin. So motion made by President Land, seconded by Trustee Griffin. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. The motion is 5-0 with Trustee Jacobson returning. Division of Instructional Services.
I'm getting there.
PE.
Yeah, so this evening, as we discussed at our last school board meeting, before you is a program opportunity where, excuse me, we are offering sophomores the opportunity to, during their season of sport, participate in a study hall during their period of PE. We call it PE athletics credit as part of the memorandum in the board agenda. Education code allows for an exemption of PE credit entirely for participation in CIF interscholastic sports. I want to be very clear that this program as developed does not go that far. So students, I'll just use an example. I think I used it last time under this program recommendation. A sophomore, and again, only sophomores participating, let's say, in volleyball in the fall season. During their season of sport and volleyball in the fall season, they would attend a study hall during, let's say, third period, because that's when they were enrolled in PE. But then when volleyball season is over, they would jump back into PE during third period. So we're not exempting them of credits. We're not exempting them for the entire year as education code could allow, but we are allowing them to remain in study hall during that period of that they would normally have PE, let's say third period, for example. The impetus of this came from a desire to help relieve some student stress around academic needs in the late afternoon and the evenings as students are participating in athletics and also having a full 7-period day. What I included in the board memo are some thoughts from athletic directors, but also some thoughts and questions from our PE teachers across the district. You heard from DTA President Craig Childress. He read a statement, collective statement from PE teachers. He shared that with me earlier today, so I really appreciated that. And they have questions around supervision of students during that study hall and so on and so forth. So this is a program in different capacities and different structures that this district had in the past. I think this district moved away from it when we adopted the 7-period day. And I think times have changed since that adoption of the 7-period day. I remember when school districts across the state were adopting a seventh period. I don't think at that time it was meant for students necessarily to take all 7 periods, but college admissions processes and desire for academic courses. We have many students taking a 7-period day. And so we're looking to revisit this opportunity for a study hall during their period of PE, during their time of season of sport.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm opening it up to questions, concerns, thoughts. Bob.
Well, you know, the theme, it appears as though the correspondence I got was overwhelmingly in support, mostly the parents, but it's a good comment about the logistics and how you're going to make this. You know, I was thinking through the transition because it back when they had 6 periods and 6 periods, I was trying to think, what did they do? How did they accomplish that? Because there's a lot of coordination. There's probably some staffing impacts. And I'm afraid you may not have it all done by the start of school.
Yeah. So, we wouldn't be changing any master scheduling at this point, right? So it's our sophomores, whether they've made a team or haven't made a team, tried out, whatever it might be. Let's use sophomores that are baseball players. And this will not impact them until the spring. So they'll have their period of PE. So there's no change of master scheduling. There is change of, first of all, offering this opportunity, if approved by the board, offering this opportunity to students during their season of sport. They don't have to take the study hall. They can remain in PE. That's a choice between them and their family if they want to remain in PE during their season of sport or take the study hall. We'll have, site administration will have to go and utilize a process to identify and give students that choice. And once given that choice, then create that kind of study hall using whether it's student success coordinators or other staff to supervise. And you're right, there are logistics to work through. But I would say let me say it in a different way. I would not be recommending at this time a program that exempted students completely out of PE for the entire year for a number of reasons. But since we're on the logistics piece, just the logistics alone of trying to change master schedule at this time, that's untenable, amongst a horde of other reasons why I wouldn't recommend that. But I think the logistics of where students would go, who would supervise, I think that's something we can work out. It might be bumpy at first, but I think it is something we could work out.
Oh, sorry. So I'm with Trustee Griffin. I thought it was really good at first, and then, seeing all of the responses from the families. But after hearing Mr. Childress, it does make me want to hear out the PE instructors as well on what their concerns are. Because what does this look like? What do the logistics look like? And what type of impact is there going to be? And you're right, it will be bumpy, but I want to hear what those are first. I don't feel like we've had enough discussion quite yet about it for me to be able to say, oh, I think yes or no. I just don't know enough about it, honestly.
So I'm gonna take a turn. So I just listening to Mr. Childress and the concerns that the PE teachers brought forth. I think we got to go slow to go fast. I think this is a good idea. I think this is something that we need to look at. I think we're pushing a little too fast. I'm willing to just wait a little bit longer to get more information and deal with some of the logistics that I think are the issue. So I think it's a matter of just hearing more from, feeling that everybody's being included. I think that's one thing that we need to do. And then maybe we can move forward from there. So that's where my thoughts are. Anyone else?
Yeah, so I do think that the PE teachers were consulted as was outlined in the memo, and the athletic directors also. Is that right?
The athletic directors for sure. The PE teachers, I met with a PE teacher representative, got their feedback. But to say that I met with all of the PE teachers across the district, no, that didn't happen, or even a large group of them. You know, it was toward the end of the school year. But I did get pretty significant input around what their logistical concerns were. I think I answered the biggest question that they had in that conversation is this, am I recommending a program that is going to remove students from their classes for the entire year? And I wanted to assure them that that's not what I was doing, that I would never have, I wouldn't have supported that kind of program. And let me just say that if the board chooses to delay, this is something that we could bring back in the fall. And we don't necessarily, if the board wanted to see this implemented, we wouldn't have to necessarily wait for the 24-25 school year. This could be implemented at some point within the 23-24 school year. So I want to give the board that flexibility and not to think it's all or nothing.
Right.
But I wanted to answer your question in that I didn't meet with the entire PE department across the district. No.
I think you bring up a really good point. I think I'm not comfortable right now just moving forward. I think there's some voices that haven't been heard and we need to include them. I don't think that we shouldn't do this. I think this is something that's very worthwhile and we want to pursue, but I think we have to iron out some details and get some input before we make any decisions. So my vote would be to just kind of hold off and do this in the fall or reconsider this with some more input at some point. Anyone else? Yes.
I know, so we did receive quite a bit of emails. I think all of them but one were from parents. Oh, no, well, they were all in favor of it, but I think that I think what Mr. Childress read was actually an email that we all received already.
Yeah.
So, but thank you to him for reading it out loud so the public could hear that. That was great.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, Craig. I think what I'm hearing from Superintendent Booker is that the students that are in the athletic programs would not be exempt for the entire year, only during that time where they have that active sport. And then they also have a choice. So if their parents and the student want to keep attending the PE class, then they opt in or they opt out, or it's an easy choice for the, well, it's an easy decision to make. And there's no change in the master schedule, because that would be crazy to try to do right now, just around the corner from school starting in August. So I waiting and just receiving more information, but still doing this later, to me, I don't know why we would want to delay other than to hear more feedback from other people.
I
But we're
think
gonna,
the PE teachers should have some input.
no, definitely,
what I
but it looks like definitely to have input, then we wouldn't be right.
Right.
So when they provide more input, then would you say down the road, we would be making the same decision anyway?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends.
It depends.
Well, I think that everybody, for the most part, seems interested in pursuing this decision. And if we're putting students first, this is really for students. It's going to help them, and it's going to help them in fall semester.
Yeah.
Football is a big one in fall semester.
Yeah.
But I think logistics are an issue.
Right.
I'm
That's
concerned
the
about the
issue.
logistics.
I think,
And PE teachers are mentioning that there's a problem with logistics.
Right.
well, their logistics for the PE teachers would be they'd have less students in a class, and then the students would go to another area. So that would be the logistics, maybe not the logistics during the PE class, because you'd have, say you have 20 people in volleyball. So those 20 students that day, instead of having PE, they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
Who's
you're
staffing?
who's staffing that coverage
So
and yeah.
that's-
So
that's
those
a
are
question for the
the issues.
superintendent, I
that-
think.
I
yeah.
feel confident
Yeah.
that superintendent can figure that out,
Okay.
Yeah.
By
I think-
himself.
By himself.
and his team.
So,
And there are some sports that have a study hall already.
right.
So what happens with
So
that?
what happens?
What sports have a study hall right now instead of going
Football.
to PE?
I know
Football.
for sure. Huh?
Yeah. It's after school.
Right.
Oh, after school. So not
Right.
during school.
Right.
don't
they
have a
need
study hall
more?
during school. So this would
Yeah.
be during school. Yeah.
So
Well, I just know that when my daughter, she played 3 sports, and I know that although now that I think about it, junior and senior year, they don't have PE, but this will just be for sophomores only. But
Okay.
still, we have athletes that are doing homework until midnight because they're,
Okay.
if this just provides them another opportunity to use that 45 minutes to an hour in another way, academically.
So at this point, I think we've all made our opinions known. If somebody wants to make a motion to pass this, then that's what you do now.
I move to approve the proposal.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it because I do trust that staff can put the logistics
So-
together, and it is about the children.
So there's been a
Of the
motion
students.
made by trustee Jacobson and seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Noes?
No.
No. So the vote is, so I'm just going to call the vote because it wasn't as clear. So trustee Jacobson,
Aye.
trustee Chavez,
Aye.
trustee Griffin,
Aye.
trustee Andrade Zuniga,
No.
trustee Land, no.
Like they were, yeah,
Okay,
that's
motion
what I heard
carried
too,
3-0.
so Pretty cool. He said it wasn't clear, but
I just wanted to make it official.
Yeah.
All right.
I got another concern. And this study hall, one of the big components of this is the study hall student success coordinator. And, I want to really understand how they run those things and that they're getting value out of it and not just sitting there on their phones for.
Mhm.
That's
for
a very
50
good point.
minutes.
That's logistics.
I mean, that's why that's why we're freeing it up,
Right.
and I wanted to move forward. I didn't know it was going to be an acid test on, or some litmus test on the program, because I think we're all in favor. But I would like a really good report on how this thing plays out, so that we don't go back, we don't go away from it. And next thing you know, we got 500 emails in our mailbox about something that ain't right.
Or those were some of the logistical things that I think.
Well,
need to be
those
ironed
are
out.
the things I think could go haywire,
Right.
I agree. I agree.
It would
And
also
that's
be
why
interesting-
that was my reservation.
Yeah.
Again, in theory, I really like it. I think
Yeah, it's a good idea.
It's
Yeah.
just, listening to Craig talk about what the PEs all felt like they didn't have input and they don't know how it's going. I think that concerns me. So that's why I voted no.
Yeah.
I still think in theory, this is good, but
Yeah.
logistics, like you just said, if you have a study hall where nobody's doing anything and they're just kind of doing their own thing
Yeah.
and they're not being supervised, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem for the kids who are not going to be in PE and they're doing something else. And sorry, been there, done that as an administrator. So
It would
those
also
are my
be-
concerns.
It would also be interesting to find out after the fall sports, what's the percentage of students who engaged in this opportunity? Was
right.
Right.
it 50%, 70%?
20%.
Oh, yeah, but just even if it's 20%, then there's less logistics to worry about.
And
But I
again,
think
this
just
is only
making an opportunity
sophomores.
Available for
And
those
this is only sophomores.
It is only sophomores, exactly.
Yeah. So
And if there was ever an opportunity for a survey,
Mhm.
this might be a good one.
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Get some,
Teachers and students.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Moving on, Spanish book, Authentico, public hearing.
All right, we're requesting a public hearing for the Spanish book Authentico.
Okay, I'm closing the board meeting, opening a public hearing about the Spanish book Authentico. Are there any comments from the audience?
Yes, we do have one. I will now promote Renwald.
Okay.
Please unmute.
Can you hear us? Anyone there?
Hello. Yes,
Oh.
I've tried to find this book and I haven't been able to find it. And I would like to review it first before and be able to use the comment form and give my opinion about it. It's not been able to. I went to the website that it says it's available at, and it's not there. So I'd like to pass this on to the next session and make this book available.
Okay. Dr. Kemke, how can he get access to this book?
There is a link, and I think he's referring to the webpage. There's a link that you can get online access to it. And then we also have the book can be accessed here physically as well. So it has been online, for quite a bit of time. I think we had it online since May 21st through June 1st and had no comments or requests up to this point.
Okay.
Not available now
Okay.
on the
I can
website.
Check that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other comments?
No, there are none.
Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. And now for approval of the Spanish book Authentico.
So this one is recommending the approval. It has been piloted by our teachers in classrooms with students. They're recommending its approval for our Spanish 1 through 3 classes.
Is there a motion? Okay, motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by trustee Griffin. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Adoption of our LCAP.
So since the last time, there's been small changes. We had the LCAP reviewed by the San Mateo County Office of Education. We made small edits to the LCAP. That's what's now attached. We had the public hearing last time. So tonight we're recommending approval and adoption of the 2023-24 local control and accountability plan for San Mateo.
Can I ask a question? Because it says it
Sure.
has a federal addendum and the second part. Why don't we do those together?
So the federal addendum is a separate document that requires approval by the board separately, is from
Okay.
what we understand. So
Okay.
you'll see that attached on the next item.
All right.
Move
Any-
to approve if there's no question.
Motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga for the LCAP,
I'll second that.
seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. So approval of the LCAP federal addendum.
So this is the federal addendum. This essentially outlines how we use federal funding aligned to our LCAP goals. So the federal government also requires you to submit information on how you're using that funding, and that's what's provided there. If you're interested, we're use federal funding for our AVID program, family engagement coordinators, and a lot of our tier 3 type of support programs.
Nice. Okay,
I move to approve.
motion made by trustee Jacobson, second,
I'll second that.
seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Business, Division of Business Services. So thank you, Dr. Kemke, for instruction services. Business services, approval of a use agreement.
So we're really excited to bring forth the use agreement at Hillsdale High School. As many of the board members know, we've had a early childhood education program in partnership with Kenyatta College at Hillsdale High School. That used to have a practical arm, and the district ran a early childhood education center at Hillsdale. In 2017, when the 800 building was completed, there was a wonderful early childhood education center included in that building. The decision was made right around the time of the pandemic to close that program down as a district-run program. And now we are moving forward to open up in partnership with Stella Piccola, an early childhood education center. Part of the contract with them is that we will be, our students in that program with Kenyatta College, dual enrollment, will have extensive opportunities to earn their practical hours on campus, with, very, very easy and with a partner. So we're really excited to move this forward. I'm happy to answer any questions.
So it sounds like it's going to be reopened, but with a subcontracting group taking care of it.
Correct. Ultimately, it's a license agreement, similar to a lease agreement. But in that lease agreement, part of the responsibilities of Stella Piccola are to provide our students with those opportunities. If at any point, that doesn't work for them, the district can end the agreement.
I have a question.
Sure.
It's similar to the program that they have at CSM? I think they have one at CSM as well.
I'm not an expert on the program at CSM, but when working with the Kenyatta folks, they did note that it is a sister program, or however they call it.
It's getting
Yeah, it's
EEC units.
Yeah, they'll get their
Early
EEC.
education.
Yeah, it's a
Yes,
really good
correct.
program.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question. Is this similar to how it was run before?
It's similar in the sense of of our students' opportunities.
Yeah.
In the past, the school district actually ran the the early
I
childhood
see.
education
But the
center.
students will still be getting credit, academic credit.
So they'll get academic credit through the dual enrollment course,
Okay.
and then they'll get the opportunity to earn their practical hours, which are
Yes.
required for final certification, I believe is.
I am
Yeah.
so happy about this.
Yeah, it's a very good program.
I'm just disappointed that it wasn't open when my youngest was able to take advantage of it. I was actually
Absolutely.
planning to enroll him
Ah,
here, but
nice.
COVID happened. but-
Yeah.
I'll move to approve. Yeah.
Okay, well, anyone?
Second.
Okay, motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga, seconded by trustee Griffin. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carried 5-0. Board operations, the board, city, committee, school assignments are in front of you for August to June. These are our committee assignments for the school year. So we're kind of doing some adjusting, which actually makes a lot of sense because it's for the entire school year. So any questions, thoughts, concerns? Yes.
No. So I know we had a big discussion last time. I was on the Citizens Oversight Committee and the Equity Advisory Committee, as you see at the top of the graph.
Mhm.
And not
Would
graph,
you
but the
like to
chart.
stay on the equity advisory? Is that
Sure, but I
that
also
50%?
mentioned at the time that since trustee Jacobson wasn't here during that meeting, I had mentioned if she wanted to switch property committee for equity advisory committee, only if you were interested. It's up to you.
I am interested, but I'll let you have it because I don't know that I need another Thursday meeting in my life right now. So
Trustee Jacobson and I are very much in alignment on this.
Okay.
All right, very good. So I guess this is just approval or just
Or just the
as is?
the other thing I was gonna say is if this is when it comes down to graduation assignments, I just want to request that I'm Hillsdale. For that purpose.
When will
for
that
the
be for you
graduation.
though?
What?
When will it be? for
When?
you?
Is it this year?
When?
Is it June?
Yeah, is
Next
it
June
this or next year?
For 2024.
or June?
Yeah,
this
June
year.
of 2024.
Then we should have, I mean, we could switch if you'd like.
Do you want to switch Hillsdale and Mills?
I don't mind having Mills as my thing. I just want to speak it. I just
She
want
wants
to
to
be
switch to the
assigned to
graduation.
graduation only.
That's fine.
Is that fine?
Okay.
Okay.
Is that cool?
I'm not married to anything. It's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, make that little note that she wants to do Hillsdale graduation.
I just want to be real clear, though, when it comes to sans the graduation, as this chart is developed, we're not making any changes.
That's what it sounds like.
Or maybe if you want to add an equity advisory committee back to me, since Jen doesn't.
Oh,
have that.
yeah. do
Yeah.
that.
So just add that back as I had it above.
It's still there.
I don't see it there. On my copy, it's
can-
not.
Citizens
No,
Oversight
for
Committee?
the
For the next year, for the
For the current.
On the bottom.
Oh, sorry.
Just
Thank
if you want to
So
add.
you need to
back
add
in.
that.
Okay, so take that.
No,
I
just,
think Lydia's gonna stay on both
Yep.
of them. Or
Yep.
Okay, so we're adding equity advisory to trustee Chavez.
because at last time I had made a comment that trustee Jacobson wanted that, but then she wasn't here, but
Okay,
I didn't, somehow it was
Got it.
removed. That's all.
got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then with that minor,
Wait. Let me just clarify though. So for graduation stuff, you're gonna do Hillsdale, I'm gonna do Mills.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
so you
Yes,
guys,
you'll
for
swap.
graduation, you guys are
Yeah,
switching.
You'll swap.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Nice.
All right. We sure now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're
It's on
equity
record.
advisory, right?
It's being
Okay.
recorded. It's on record.
I know, I'm just teasing. It's
They're all
getting towards the
they're
end. I
always
can get a little
recorded.
silly now.
Always recorded.
I always get
Yeah,
little,
I'm
little
kidding.
off when I'm getting towards the end of a meeting.
Do.
I'm teasing.
All right. So Can we get a motion to approve this so that's official?
I'll make the motion to approve
Okay.
as is, well,
As
with
amended.
those, as amended with those couple of
Okay.
minutes.
Motion made by trustee Chavez. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Andrade Zuniga. All those in favor of the board assignments, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. We have new trustee assignments and the new trustee assignment dates. So it's August to June. All right. Coolness. We are getting towards the end. Just gonna say it's 9:20.
We still have our board report out that you moved. That might take an
Yeah.
hour.
Oh, no. Y'all do that. I'm out of here on my own. All right, moving on.
Without you, we
Approval-
can finish without you.
Approve of specific board policies and administrative regulations. Any updates, Dr. Black?
Just the legislative updates. There's 4 policies.
Okay, is it just put it to consent?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I put approval on this memo. And
It
it's
means just
usually-
move to consent.
Yeah, move to
Yeah.
consent.
Oh.
Anyone opposed to that?
No.
Okay, so we'll move it to consent for the next agenda item. Future board agenda items? Any?
I have a, oh.
Okay.
go ahead.
No, well,
Sorry, go ahead, Jennifer. Go ahead.
Trustee Jennifer
No,
Jacobson
she
goes
said
first.
I don't know why. We received an email about doing the idea of doing vision screening.
Oh, right.
And I
yes.
wanted to see if there was a way that we could
Yeah,
make that happen.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and there's something I want to talk to Superintendent Booker about because I'm glad you brought that up. There are some opportunities, but I think that there was already a mobile van, right, that comes out.
Why don't I do this? Why don't I work with the team to provide the board a memo update as to what we've done, what we're doing, what could happen in the future,
Great,
and then we'll go from there.
great,
That sounds awesome.
great.
Okay,
I have one thing. I wanted to see if we could take updated pictures and put them on our website could we do, yeah, like, you know how the kids have their
Yeah.
pictures?
I'm fine
If we
with
could do
mine.
them- Huh? If they could be just uniform, because they're kind of all over the place
Yeah,
and outdated.
Oh, I don't think mine's outdated, but that's okay.
yours is good, Greg. Greg wants you to say this picture is good. It is.
You
it
can
is-
keep yours,
You can
Thank
keep yours. You have the option,
please.
All right.
just like the PE.
Okay.
Sports.
Anyone else? We're at 9:20.
Are we gonna
okay.
do the board update?
No,
You
We're
said you
gonna
were
move
tabling. You
just
said you-
kidding. I'm kidding.
Not tabling.
Who would like to say something? at the
I'll
board
say
updates?
something
Go
really
ahead.
quick. I was
Good,
joking when I said an hour.
good. I'm timing.
No, I only wanted to mention something
Go.
really quickly. This is about the Juneteenth events that I attended. I wanted to say that lots of community members, lots of students participating. It was great. I attended the one for San Bruno, and the following Saturday, I attended the one in Millbrae, and I was really happy to see Trustee Andre Zuniga there.
Saw your pictures.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just great, well attended by mayors of both cities and city council members. I talked to Sheriff Christina Corpus there, and she talked about a new program that they're offering for the youth drivers, recognizing the dangers of impaired driving. And I think August 2nd is the second session, so I can, if anybody's interested, but it's also the San Mateo County Sheriff's Department's also putting the message out there on social media. So I just want to make that known. And it was also nice seeing you there that Saturday. So it's great to go to attend the local celebrations we have. And also I wanted to mention this, that San Mateo Foster City School District, they had a lunch that we were all invited to. So I was really honored to attend that. It was a luncheon for all their partners. And Hillsdale High School was honored as a recipient of the Beyond the Bell Award for their Empowerment Through Action program. So that was very, very exciting.
That's awesome.
That's what I have. That's why.
Thanks for representing.
And Mr. Booker was there. Superintendent Booker was there as well as
Good
a lot of-
representation.
as well as staff members
better
from
be.
Hillsdale to collect that award. It's great.
Okay, you did that within a minute.
I know.
Good.
I talked fast.
You
I just
did.
want to put a plug in for the Pride Center. They're doing a really good SOGI LGBTQ 101 training. If anyone's interested in that, it's really, really good. So
And I know they just on June 10th, they had the Pride parade, the first one in
That's
San
great.
Mateo. Hopefully we can get maybe our high school bands to participate next
yeah,
year. That would be
it's-
great.
yeah.
So anyway,
Forgot to mention, I might have mentioned this before. I can't remember. Because you mentioned high school bands.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have local parades. Well, San Bruno had their Posey Parade and it's every June, and Cappuccino Band performed
Right,
in the
there you
parade.
go.
Yeah.
awesome. Anyone else?
I have one just quick thing to say. my twin boys have had 2 lacrosse camps, one at the new Mills field and one at Hillsdale. And my daughter's ballet studio rented out the Hillsdale Theater for their annual showcase. So I'm just really pleased that our facilities are getting used and that they're at a quality enough that, you know, the private community is renting them
Wants
out.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. All right.
Trustee Griffin gives something to say, I can tell.
He's packed up. He's like me. I'm like, we're ready to go. Let's not get him. What she wants. All right. Are we good? And that means adjournment. 9:24.
What?
Hour early. All right. I might have had go team exactly.